Great. Hey, Kurt, really great to see you today. Thanks for joining. And
thank you. Good to see you too. It's nice to see human beings these days.
I know, right? In New York, so I'm quarantined in my apartment in New York, trying to, with my partners, trying to run our parks in Florida and Michigan, so where we are not, and so that's been quite an adventure. So,
are you finding you're doing some things better now because you have more attention to some details?
Focus and awareness for sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Right.
So, Kurt, the reason we're talking today is I just called on you to see, because you represent a big part of mobile home park industry that is now changing, and things are moving, and I wanted to ask you for your insights and input of what you are seeing in your mobile insurance, and how you see it changing, moving forward, and so on and so forth, if you don't mind.
Well, it's an interesting world. There's no question. We're trying to adapt what we're doing to fit with what people want these days. So we're posting a lot of information with regards to what are the things you can't do now with collections? What can you do? How can you amend a lease so you can lock in past back rents owed? And we're trying to pump that out information to our clients too. Then from our perspective too, sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Kurt, you with me?
To anyway. For instance, like our customer service, now used to, we'd have so many calls coming in, so many deals being done, so much stuff going on. Sometimes it might be half a day, a day and a half before someone would call you back. And now I'm telling everybody, hey, the world's a different world. We all like living indoors and eating. So let's respond immediately. So if you get a phone call from Katerina, looking at a new property, I don't want it to be 4 hours before she waits. I want it to be now.
So I see, obviously being focused, just having ability to respond faster. So if you be in, one of the main players in a mobile home park insurance industry, so what were the biggest lessons maybe that you and your team have learned in the past, several weeks since all the pandemic and, this situation started?
It's always, you don't know how good of an insurance agent you are until people have problems. And then if they know either A, we've got coverage, or B, they don't have coverage, you've been a pretty good insurance agent. There's not coverage for everything. Where people are good at that or know it, then that's good for us. So we're going to be even better explaining everything that you've got, everything that you don't. A lot of times as a business owner, I don't want to buy insurance for certain things. It's too expensive. I'm better off managing it myself, risk myself, and I'll keep it. So now we're making sure that people understand those trade-offs. And I think that makes you a good business partner, which is what we really want to be here.
So would you say the biggest lesson is educating and your customers on what you have experienced, what you have prior experience in, and just saying, hey guys, this you absolutely cannot do without, or just, is this like a added experience, like case studies, things that kind of added to your knowledge base?
Well, I think it's the two things. It's the prompter, quicker service. Don't take anything for granted these days. There's a lot of people that would love to have the problem of having work to do right now. And so we talk about that all the time. Make sure you're Johnny and Janie on the spot, everything right now, all the time. So, plus, we want to be accurate. We want to make sure that people know what they've got, know what they don't, and talk about, okay, what does this mean to me? Posting information. Whenever someone has a catastrophic problem, that's when you really find out what was your risk management package right. Did you have the right in place? Did you have the right procedures in place as a business owner? Did you have the right backstop of insurance? We're trying to walk people through all of those things.
I see. So with that, what kind of opportunities you see for yourself, your team, your business, short-term and long-term?
We have to be really focused on value as a partner, not just being an insurance agent for someone, but this is what we are. And we're trying to label ourselves as we're part of your back office. We work for you, tell you when it's a good idea to do something. And if you want to go try something that's a unique business opportunity, we're going to tell you, okay, here's what the risks are. Here's the good and the bad of that. We can ensure that it's manageable if you do these processes in place, or be careful. It's very difficult to insure. And I don't know that there's much you can do to manage your risk. And if you can't manage that risk, you need to make sure that you're doing that particular activity inside a corporation or entity that doesn't have a bunch to lose. So maybe you set up a separate company and you do that excavation project with rehabbing 44 1966 old rental homes. Maybe you don't have that in the same LLC that you also own the $10 million and the $10 million park you have in Florida. Let's think this through.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So this is an opportunity of, as I understand, is deepening your connection, deepening your relationship with existing customers. Would that be something that?
I think that's good, and we're doing it on the back end too, because really as an insurance agency, we're a intermediary. We're going in between you and all the insurance companies and they'll write this class of business and seeking out the best terms with them. We're also evaluating them. We're demanding the same of them that we're expecting our customers to demand with us. For instance, a year ago this time, there were so many deals being done. Every time we would send in a request for new stuff, we might get a call the next day from an insurance company. It might be 3 days, it might be a week. And right now it's about an hour because they're in the same position we are. So we're getting really quick service, really quick. And the smart ones are doing that. If you aren't, but the smart ones are, and that's a good indication of where you ought to be as a partner in the long run, who you ought to be partnering with.
So, and Kurt, now as we just started conversation, you said we have part of our staff. So you, as a business, how are you adapting in a work environment of present day?
That's a good question. Well, people would think of insurance as maybe being the most boring thing you could do in your life. Shoot yourself in the head before you're going to be in insurance. But the truth is nothing happens without insurance. Businesses can't operate, banks won't lend, everything comes to a stall. So we are actually essential. So what we've done is we've tried to create the most safe essential we can do. And we've allowed all of our employees over the age of 50 the opportunity to work full-time from home. We've had the people in that are close enough in desks that it's within that, could be within the 6 feet, but not maybe 6 feet, but close. We're letting them take alternative days off so that makes them feel good. Then we're doing a couple of feel-good things around here. We're bringing in lunch on a regular basis, which not only makes our employees happy, but it supports the local restaurants. We're doing that. And one thing I think it's a kind of a serve thing. Here is the president of the company. I go around every morning and I personally clean the phone, the mouse, and the desk of everybody's my place with isopropyl alcohol. And maybe I'm doing good, maybe I'm not, but they see it that I am. I think it's a good thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And this was something that I was kind of leading to. I wanted to ask you, that was my next thing. What keeps you motivated? What keeps you going every day? What keeps you grounded and passionate about what you do?
Well, all those things I just mentioned are great things. I think those all make me feel good. And I do things like you do. I try to keep my routines in place. I still get up in the morning at 6 o'clock and do my exercise. Even if I can't go to the gym, I've got a little barbell and a little thing in the room. I can do push-ups and sit-ups, and probably better for my 55-year-old shoulders anyway. And we're doing all that. And so we're looking for every time to find it. And we're also remembering the purpose of life is not always for us, but there's a bigger picture. And so we're trying to remember the value of life and while we're here and know that there's a lot of good options out there for a lot of people, and we're going to make the best of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that is truly, you know, what people I think realize maybe in the past few weeks, why are we doing what we're doing? You know, what's going to be left after we're done with our hustle and bustle of day to day, after 5 o'clock, after 6 o'clock, what's going to be happening after? What have I done today that really made me better? What have I contributed today? Did I help anyone aside from myself? You know, was I just really busy, or did someone, you know, actually smiled and said thank you? You did good. You know, I'm grateful for it, right? So I think that that truly makes a huge difference.
Well, let me tell you what you do good. You communicate with a lot of different people, and you do a lot of teaching, which is great. But what you really do on a level is you give valuable housing to everybody that lives in your community. You have not one person that lives in your community that could have a better deal somewhere else that hasn't chosen to go, because they could choose and go do that. So you've given affordable housing and a great place to live for everybody who's chosen on their own will to come join you. That's a great thing, because I don't know where else they would be. They would be someplace worse by definition if you weren't there. So that's a good thing to think about.
Yeah, thank you. And so, Kurt, I said that we're not going to be taking much of your time. Maybe you can leave our audience, MHP Tribe folks, with a few action items, something that you've learned, and you're just going to say, hey guys, like, this is what you need to make sure of in the next week, you know, 2 weeks time. These are the things that you got to do for your business.
Well, I'd say I have, that's a great question. Let me think. I got 3 things. One, now's a good time to get the back shelf things to the front shelf and get them done, because there's something to do right now. So that's a great thing. 2, communication's great. And sometimes your communication is no or I don't know. And that's fine too. If you don't know and you don't want to respond, tell people. People are honest, they get it. You're not a perfect match for anybody anyway. And sometimes if you tell people, maybe I'm not the perfect match, maybe you ought to call Katerina. She knows more about this than me. People really appreciate that. And then 3, I think you just have to do absolute honesty with everything you do, and be real value and be upfront about it. This is what we can do. This is what we can't do. This is what we're good at. This is what we're not good at. This is what we know and what we don't know. And if you don't know it, spell it out, and you can maybe avoid that problem. So those are maybe 3 things.
That's great. Okay. Get the things, you know, you've been delaying to get them done. Communication, honesty. That's awesome. That's great. And Kurt, I will also make sure to post your contact for our folks in the notes. And if you wouldn't mind just sharing what's the best way to reach you for any type of insurance related questions.
Well, I like phone calls a great way. If you're looking at something you really don't know what to do, I'm happy to look at it on email and respond email. I probably even like that too. I'm a little bit of an introvert, but you're probably best calling. It's 800-458-4320, 800-458-4320. If I'm not available, one of our expert park specialty agents is. And then you can email me at Kurt, K-U-R-T, at mobileagency.com. I like emails. I'm a good writer, fast typist. I learned in 7th grade, so I like that too. But thank you for the opportunity to see your face. I'm just glad to see people.
Yeah, no, me too. Absolutely. Yeah, Kurt, I really, really appreciate it. And thank you. Thanks for making time and joining. Thank you.